if this is your first time on Under the Radar, welcome. It is a space that, an AMA series, rather, that Crypto Fundamentals and I started. And really, the primary purpose was to educate people and tell people about cool people building cool things. So there's a lot of projects in this space. There's probably honestly never been more. And while people, there's that whole saturation thing where it's like, oh man, how can any of them go crazy since there's so many? The reality is typically, as my grandfather always said, the cream rises to the top. The best things should have the best holders, the best communities, but sometimes those things don't happen just because of a lack of knowledge. And I guarantee you there's people here today who thinks NFAi is, it's probably just, another AI small cap, but you're gonna you're gonna find out that this is a very serious project, and there's a lot more to it than you think. I never read white papers, and I fully digested this one. So we're excited to teach you guys about what they're building and hear from them as well.
Perfect. Lovely introduction. Thank you so much. You hit the nail on the head there. We really have strived since the beginning to focus on the community building side of things. We try to encourage, intelligent discussion. We appreciate both positive and negative feedback in our group, which is something that you don't really see elsewhere. And we're focused on, our experiment, which is, building this neural net and deploying it within the crypto space, which hasn't been done before. So this is we're very, very excited to get right in there and talk about it and hopefully educate some people, and maybe they can go out and build their own or try to build their own even, or just join our community. So we're pretty happy.
Yes, and we're happy to hear about it. Excited to hear about it.
And in putting it together, I want to touch on like the white paper and the website and everything, the Medium articles you guys have. The Medium articles are somewhat extensive if you go into detail and read them. But it took me a little bit, and it does this for me. It's my process of writing and putting all your pieces together with your white paper and your website in my own format to kind of get a full circle, kind of clear understanding of how exactly the protocol operates and how you want it to operate in the future. And so it was very helpful for me to kind of do that. But I was very impressed and kind of, blown away by the idea here. And especially the fact that you guys, I think, have been working on this over a year, right? And Athena has been tested positively, I might add, for quite some time.
Yes, that's correct. We've been working on this for over a year. We didn't really decide to even take this to market or monetize it until maybe a couple months ago. Once we decided, we kind of went through all the testing. We were just kind of having fun with it. And then one day we're like, shit, we might have something here, and we might have this might be a bigger idea behind it that could help DeFi or change the space in some way. So this is our, kind of a labor of love, I'd say. We started off, as I think we mentioned in the white paper. I mean, I was the first person to take a crack at this, and my results were abysmal. Like, they were terrible. But the people that I met along the way in my time in crypto, some of them were big data nerds, and they helped me, and we helped each other, kept challenging each other to beat our previous scores. Eventually, the threshold basically on the street when you're dealing with hedge funds, especially, is a 65% accuracy. But we were like, okay, well, can we beat it? Can we go? What will take us to that next step? And that's where the neural net kind of came into play and allowed us to take a step further than we thought we could. And it took a lot of academic research kind of to check on to figure this out. But it's something that has been done for the neural net was something that was created, I think, like in the 40s. The concept was done in the 40s and has been used in the equities side, equities, debt, capital markets, all that for many, many, many years. But for some reason, it hasn't found its way into crypto yet. We've got a lot of people using simple machine learning algos, even simple moving average algos and whatnot. But the neural net allows you to do much, much more with code and with mathematics than you could previously.
Yeah, it's epic to see the technologies that are floating into the industry that
And
have been used in other applications. And I always thought, hey, one of the best things you could do is take something that exists in the other fintech markets and reproduce it on the blockchain, but make it better with the aid of the blockchain. I did want to ask before we really dive in and jump deep. Are we still waiting on someone, by the way, or is he here?
Yeah, let me just check, give him a message right now and see what's up there. But
Okay.
one second, one second. Just give me a second here.
Yeah, no worries. I wanted to ask two things before we get really into the meat and potatoes here. One, you talked, I said about a year ago, you started working on it. I was wondering what gave you the vision? What was the moment at which you thought, hey, this would be a cool idea or we should build this? And then two, if you had to give kind of a, 10,000 foot view and you had to explain it to, let's say, a high school kid, uh, how would you explain your project to them? Just kind of a
Great
brief
questions, great
overview of.
questions. Great question. So the first question, I would say that why did I start this? I personally started on this journey because honestly, I was tired of waiting up, watching the charts, missing trades, going to sleep, leaving a leverage long or short out, and getting wrecked essentially. And I was like, well, there's got to be a better way. And there was especially the biggest thing that I saw was these institutional candles that work 24 hours a day. The banks are closed, these institutions are closed, and they're front running basically major events or major changes in the market. And I was like, well, if this has to be something that I could probably try to do, but I knew I couldn't do it alone. So I started, tried, figured it out. It was something that I was used to doing in my previous roles within the financial industry. So I had worked with them before, but I never built one for crypto, which is very, very hard because crypto data is very, very volatile, as everyone knows. It's very, very hard to predict, right? Predict and create patterns. So it was a very difficult challenge. But that was basically it. I was just tired and fed up of going to sleep, waking up, getting wrecked, or going to brush my teeth, something happens. I wanted to have some sort of safety net there, and that just grew and grew and grew. And based on that idea, here we are today, right? And so your second question was, how do you explain this to a high schooler, or I like to say, how do you explain it to your grandma? Basically, I'd say that this is the closest thing when it comes to technology, uh, especially financial technology, to a brain, an actual brain. Except you're able to remove emotion, you're able to remove the need to sleep, you're able to remove fatigue, but you're able to put in all of the decision making factors that a trader would make at any given time. That would be, I guess, my shortest pitch. So if we want to dive deeper into that, how does that work? So everyone here who's ever traded or looked at a chart will you have a bunch of indicators in front of you. You have your say RSI, moving average, all these things. You have a lot of these guys will have tons of indicators up, but your brain can only process a certain amount of indicators per second, per minute, per hour, 4 hours, whatever candle you choose. Now, what is that? What is the reason for that? It's just simply the limitation of your brain, that you can't take in all the information, but you do have to make a gut decision at the same time. But what if you could make these decisions and know all of the indicators at once, know all of the readings, be able to prioritize them, which is what you do when you're looking at and making any decision in life. You look at the variables and you prioritize them. So this neural net basically does the same thing, but does it faster and does it constantly, right? And it was cool going on this process with the team, because at first, we'd always put ourselves against the neural to see, what we could do. Especially any bot, you want to test yourself versus the bot. Then the bot starts beating you, you get pissed off, and then it starts beating two people, three people, four people, five people. Soon it's better than the whole team. And that is, I think, the coolest part of the process is figuring out exactly what matters, and then doing your stochastic and figuring out how to prioritize those variables that you've input.
Okay. So, yeah, well, first of all, I have to say I relate fully on that sleeping on a trade, or you get a good long entry, you go to bed, and, it'll be all right, and then wake up liquidated or something. Been there before. Um, so I feel that. And second of all, I think that's really cool. Using all of this data so basically it helps people utilize different things like TA, price action, all these things with the machine learning uses this to optimize someone's ability to essentially profit via the DAO, right?
Well, exactly. The thing is, like, what we're the DAO aspect is a whole another beast, which is pretty cool, and I'll get into that in a second. But when it comes to the actual inputs, so we have basically, I know you've seen this, but for everyone that hasn't seen this in the white paper, your neural net has your input layer, your hidden layer, and your output layer. So your input layer is basically all of your variable inputs. So it could be your TA style stuff. It could be a predictive algo. It could be even sentiment analysis, which is something that we've been playing around with too. And that is then put, basically you rank all of these input layers, and the hidden layer does this decision making and ranks them on the fly. So right now, it's we're moving into basically what we're doing in the background is before we were doing this by the team. So we'd have a stochastic gradient, which is basically you're going through and you're spending hours basically tweaking and back testing and figuring out exactly what priority rank is everything within the input layer, and how does that work, how does that go against a certain back test. We usually use 2 years of data. So from that we went, okay, well, how do we make this faster? Well, the AI would be able to do this, and there's academic research that we follow. One such study, I think that's the favorite around the well, I can't say the office, I guess the virtual office right now, is a study done by the University of Ottawa in Canada, and they were able to do this basically the same study on equities, and they were able to perform that part that takes us hours within seconds, and they're able to be about 10% more accurate than our highest score that we've ever gotten. So this stuff exists. This stuff has existed for a while, but for some reason it hasn't made its way to crypto. And that's the biggest thing that we found. And what you said in the beginning is huge. We're a strong believer. I'm personally a strong believer in the fact that DeFi should mirror the financial world. We have treasury, we have trading houses, we have leverage, we have lending, we have custody, custodial services. We have a lot of these things, but we don't really have an answer to, a hedge fund, right? And so our experiment is figuring out how that would work. And when we go in when you go in the white paper and you look at phase 3, we talk about handing it off to the DAO. That's a big deal, because one thing that we want to be very clear about is that anyone can build a neural, anyone can build a machine learning algo, but there's also that human aspect that it's important in decision making. It's the ability for a human being to look on social media and digest the sentiment, look at the zeitgeist, get a finger on the pulse or whatever you'd like to say, and make a decision. So, how do you factor that in using a decentralized model? It's basically allowing the DAO to have a say in the bias of what the algo's doing. So is it going to be a bearish bias? Is it going to be a bullish bias? Or is it going to be a neutral bias? And that's something that will come in later, and that's what we're playing with right now. But yeah, it's very, very cool what you can add just on the input layer. Anything, any basically any variable or any multivariate equation you can add there, and then you can basically prioritize it and back test until you find the right combination. And with an AI, you're able to do this on the fly, which is insane.
You don't need any help or any manual labor involved in that. I wanted to ask and go back to what you were saying about studies and peer review, and what kind of studies were you using? Were you using psychology studies, man versus human, mathematical formulas and studies, or just trading studies?
No, well, if you ever want to look into this, you can. Well, if you ever in our Discord, we have a couple links up, but we try to stick to it's what's called the Journal of Big Data. And so it's basically the data science journal for peer-reviewed academic studies.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, and I will. So what else can you
How
tell
many?
us? Like, can you start off with talking about Athena a little bit and how it operates as a trading bot and her success rates, and then how you plan on, inserting the Athena into derivatives?
Absolutely. So basically, what we've been doing throughout the testing, which has been going on for a while now, we basically have what our code on the input layer. So we have our code with our multivariate. You know, we can't really tell you all the variables, but for instance, RSI is in there, TA is in there, certain predictive algos are in there, and what happens is that periodically, I do a lot of this work, but I will go in and make sure that I backtest over 2 years of data. Usually, we've been sticking to ETH/USD. I just first for some reason I really like ETH/USD, maybe because I'm always in the altcoin space. But we've been doing ETH/USD the whole time. 2 years. You do 2 years of backtesting, and you have what's called a horizon period. So you do your backtest, and then you test it on another quarter, like the last quarter, to just see what it will do. Um, so you do this over and over and over again until you first you optimize for instance, for accuracy, and then you optimize for yield, and then you kind of choose the best combination of both. So basically, because we're doing this by hand, right, doing all the calculations, doing all the formulas by hand, this takes a very long time, but there's also the human error factor. So that one study I mentioned, I think they were able to they had 30 indicators within their input nodes. They were able to get a max of, I think it was 96% accuracy on 2 years of equities data, which is crazy. And, we checked, was there overfit on the data, all of that? No, they were able to get 96%. We were able to hit 83% one time. And that's just shows how the stark difference between humans doing this type of mathematical work and an AI, right? When it comes to our backtesting results, we are generally just above 70%. Like basically, like at this point, we haven't really gone below 70%, which is nice. And then in our live testing, our last live test we closed, I think it was during week 1, and we were able to get, I think it was a 6x on 7 days, which was really cool to see. We were getting consistently better and better, but I think that was probably our best test yet. And we talked about this in the first call. We said, well, during the launch, we could have put in our launch money, and what would have happened there? We would have taken, if we did 6x, we would have, with a war chest of 300K we had at that time, we'd have been $1.8 million that we would have been able to push back into the chart, right? And that's crazy to think about. And I wouldn't say that would be the performance every single time, but it shows the potential of something like this, especially even if it's making consistent small profits that are compounding, right? It's allowing a holder to hedge themselves against the market without themselves going to leverage trade.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. And then that's kind of the aspect I really liked about it too, is how you guys essentially are creating something that you're going to give to ordinary people that they don't have the ability to trade or the time to trade, so they can have successful outcomes and take advantage of the market in ways that people like us can, or hedge funds and institutions can, right? And so you're kind of even in the playing field there. So I kind of enjoy that.
Yeah, and that's what
Exactly,
I
exactly.
think. These are the kind of things that we need, not only to make people more profitable, but I think to get more people involved in DeFi and in crypto, is we need things to make it accessible, a lower barrier to entry, and something that someone doesn't know much. Maybe they follow Income Sharks or something, and they're following his leverage trades, he's crushing it, but it's just like the time you enter, whatever the time you get out, it's tough for people. So they want to get into stuff, but they don't know what they're doing. And ultimately, that usually means they lose a lot of money and get a bad taste in their mouth. So I think things like this in the future are going to bring more people in and have an enjoyable experience. I did want to ask, briefly before you continue on. You said you did 2 years of backtesting on this, or the
Yes,
algorithms.
yes. So basically, so backtesting essentially for anyone who is not familiar with this, it's basically a cost-saving way of figuring out how market performance could be. Of course, what is it? Past performance does not indicate future results, but if when you're doing a data science project, you usually look for a good amount of rich data. So we chose 2 years of rich data because a lot of it has happened in crypto in the last 2 years. A lot of black swan events, a lot of random things that we normally wouldn't be able to figure out by TA or whatever methods we normally would use. But and it also mirrors the academic studies that within the equities market and the debt market where they use 2 years of data. So that's what we've been doing. It's not we haven't been doing this for 2 years and then we suddenly have this amount of money and then we're launching. It's us sitting here today and then doing a rolling 2-year back test on the data every single day. And then with the AI will be every single minute, every single
And
second even.
can I ask, like, for example, like, and you don't have to give specifics, but what kind of background do you and your team have in, mathematics and engineering and maybe computer programming and stuff? Because, reading studies isn't an easy thing. It's something that was actually taught to me. It's so you guys have some kind of educational background, to say the least. So I'd like to kind of maybe touch on, that, or at least your experiences in building.
Yeah, of course. So we have a pretty diverse team. We have some people who are quants, people who've done the rounds within the big data side. We have our programmers, which are basically the guys who are making a lot of this happen. And then there's people like myself who are kind of between the quant side and the finance side. I myself have a master's degree in finance. I worked for a couple big banks, U.S. banks and international banks. And I've dealt with this for many years. So I've basically used my experience to figure out, okay, there's a way for me to do something a little bit easier. And throughout my journey, I picked up, friends along the way that also were very curious and wanted to solve this problem and figure out that if we could actually figure this out ourselves. And it's cool when you are able to pick up very smart people in the DeFi space, especially when it comes to you're on Telegram and you're in different projects and whatnot. It's very rare that you find like-minded individuals that you do something this cool with. So I'm very happy to be here, and that honestly they're some of the smartest people I've ever met.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for answering.
I love to hear. I was reading the bio. It's a really good bio on your guys' Twitter. We are a global team of STEM and finance nerds that love data science. Oh, and we're building a neural network. That's not something we find commonly, at least on coins that launch on Uniswap and kind of have these stealth launches. Where you get a diverse team of people with professional backgrounds, degrees, and it's not to say that you need those things. To some of the smartest people in the world never finish high school, right? But it certainly, I think, makes a big difference in the ability of just, you guys went to school for this, and a lot of people would take a traditional finance route and work for banks or start their own businesses. But I think it's awesome. You guys are bringing all your knowledge, wisdom, smarts, and vision to the blockchain.
Appreciate that. I think Reality Bites, he's requested to talk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I unmuted him. I'm not sure where he's at. I did unmute him or make him a speaker.
Oh, there he goes.
How long did you work in banking?
I was there for about 7 years.
Very nice.
It was a very interesting experience, but it was actually a funny story is why I got into blockchain. I was doing my figuring out what I was going to do for my thesis for my master's, and I was sitting there late at night. I was like, how can I replace myself? And that's what got me on this journey and got me into blockchain years and years ago.
That's a great way of thinking about an idea.
Exactly. Hey man, how's it going? Finally made it.
Yes, sir. Hi, everybody. Finally made it. Listen, man, it's I do apologize for my tardiness. It's interesting because for me, I'm in a UTC +1. I'm sitting in Spain now. I'm moving countries regularly. I've done a PST conversion, and I got a message from you. So I'm glad I made it. Albeit a little bit past on time, but it's nice to be here, and I have been listening anyways for the last 10 or 15 minutes. Guys, nice to meet you both. Thanks for having me on. So yeah, I'm just catching up on everything. Of course, I've been with these guys and hosting AMAs for Telegram and Twitter Spaces since the start. So it's been incredible ride, incredible journey, and of course, Bumba, who is without a doubt one of the most smartest, most genius people I think in this space. Is it's a testament to how the project is going. Just listening to everything he talks about and everything these guys are doing. I mean, from the launch of how the project was launched until now, I think what almost hit 8 million. Did we hit 8 million, Bumba? Already? What's it been, 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, we did.
You
Yeah,
know,
we did.
and
That's crazy.
and it's funny to say, like, because I was in a chat just recently, and I said to someone, "Do you know what? If you before any of this happened, if you actually said." We're going to launch a coin. We're going to do a high tax that drops down over the hour. We're going to have no actual proof of the project as yet. Other than just we're going to shut the Telegram. No one would believe you that it would work. And the thing I love about these guys and Bumba is they've broken the mold. And not only broken it in a little bit of a way, but they've really changed how everything should be done. And the fact that this thing is going to be putting massive amounts of money back into people's pockets based on the weighted staking is incredible. I mean, last night I was speaking to some guys I know over a phone call, video phone call. And once you get me started on this, I literally just can't stop. I had my fiance sat next to me, and she's almost falling asleep. But trying to explain what these guys are doing here to the normal people, it's quite challenging, really. But to try and say, listen, you buy this governance token, okay, and the more you buy, you stake that money. This machine, which has been tested for God knows how long, with some of the smartest people, that I possibly know, will continuously buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, based on a high percentage ratio, win ratio, which would be equivalent to the best, better than the best traders out there on the market. And all of that money that it makes, because there's a wealth of money to go into that, will be put back, and all the people that are staking will get a part of that money. And they've ever said to me, how do I buy this? And these guys have nothing to do with crypto. This is going to change everything. And like Kyra was just saying, I mean, this is a way for everybody to get in and start making a bit of money. And I'm pretty excited about it. So there you go.
Wow, that's incredibly bullish. How you just described that. This thing's going to be a freaking monster, I think. I didn't even realize about the weighted staking component. So when you guys get into the DAO, I would love to
Yeah,
hear
I would
about
love
that
to hear
too.
about the tokenomics and the staking components that you guys have thought of and conceptually kind of graphed out for everybody.
Yeah, of course. So we basically released. First of all, thank you, man, for basically livening up. I know that I'm pretty dry on the mic here, and this
Not
is
at
really
all,
nice
Wayne.
to
It's
have a
the
little
same for me in
balance.
Cairo. I'm the drier one, right? Cairo is the pumped one, and I don't. It's just the way I come off, but I'm excited.
Exactly. It's just the way it is, right? That's the way it is. You got to have yin and yang. But yeah. So when it comes to our ecosystem, we actually basically teased our ecosystem last night, I believe. We put it out on Twitter. So
Yes.
what we're doing here with the staking portion, we have our phase one, which is Athena, getting Athena done. Phase two, can't say what it is, but everyone is guessing, which is great. But
Is this
we will know.
is phase two the partnership?
Yes, that's exactly what that is.
Uh-huh.
And we have to stay very quiet about that. Given the relationship and give our respectful relationship, we have to basically approve everything we say. But with phase one, what we're doing is we are having all the profits that are going through Athena, don't come to us. That's not how this works. It's going through the DAO, going through the DAO gets to choose whether this is going to be used for buying and burning the token, or whether it's going to be paid to stakers. That's important because there are people, community members, robots, that we call them robots in our community, but that are in certain jurisdictions that can't do staking. They can't do it. And so we want to be able to not leave anyone behind, essentially. So we're allowing the DAO to basically choose, will they have staking, or will the yield go to staking, or will the yield be pushed back into the chart through a buy and burn, or a mixture of both? I'm sure it's going to be a mixture every single time.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I don't want to take you off track, but I don't want to lose this question. Can Athena and NFAi be retrofitted in some sort of way to serve more than one community over time, or is this just a singular community? I know it's a singular kind of artificial intelligence kind of creation, in a sense, but can it branch out at all?
Well, we haven't considered that really. I mean, at this point, we're just trying to we got our hands full with one community already.
Right.
It's be a little bit presumptuous for us to be thinking about others, but if we what we do say is that if there's anyone else that's even competitors are trying to build something like this for their own community, we want this idea to be we want this idea to permeate DeFi, and we're willing to talk and help in any way without giving away our own algo, of course. But the biggest reason that we do this is because normally this type of setup in traditional markets is only available to people who are very the high net worth, with a very, very good network, are able to get their hands on something like this in the traditional markets. Within DeFi, we're thinking, well, this is a way to give it to everyone and do it in a way that is kind of a labor of love. Give back to the community that's given to us so much, and be able to do a cool experiment in the meanwhile. But with that staking, that's dependent on the DAO. If the DAO is going to go straight, if the profits go straight to the pool, or if the profits or a portion goes to buying and burning. But until then, until it's up, we got to be doing the buys and burns.
Okay, I didn't mean that as a mandatory thing. Your community will be very exclusive and very well sought after, in my opinion, if it doesn't have that option. So it's probably a lot more powerful for the DAO and for NFAi.
Absolutely.
It makes it. It also means that anybody that wants access to this, there is no other way of getting it other than to buy NFA governance token. And the more obviously you buy, then the more you will get back as per weighted staking. Gosh, losing it.
Right.
So and the other thing is, nobody needs to have a certain amount, which is a lot of these questions were initial questions which I was trying to dig out of Bumba when we first started. Do people really need to buy a lot of this? And you don't. As long as you own some of NFAi, you will of course then have staking returns. So there is the rich people that have access to machines like this put in a bucket load of money, and it just, as Bumba said, it wipes out everybody else that has to have any opportunity of doing this. And aside from all this, I truly believe Bumba's playing it down a little, because there isn't anything like this realistically. This will be the first of its kind, and I think it's very humble of Bumba, but I'm pretty sure once this comes out and everything, it is definitely going to change the space. And day after day, and even it's only been 2 weeks, maybe. I think the days just go so fast, but this floor is growing every single day. So aside from the rewards that you're getting from the most incredible AI that's invented for crypto for the first time ever, you're also your money that you're buying is also going up on the chart. And the fact that nobody else can access this without putting money in, all that means is it's going to continue to grow.
Right. Yeah. When you talk about that stuff, it really makes me, I don't want to use the word bullish too often, but, I'm super bullish. Considering the ecosystem you guys are attached to and what the model you guys are using, and it going back to the community, I can't think of a lot of things you guys have left out or are lacking, to be honest.
Well, there's one thing I will want to mention, just jumping off that point. We mentioned in our white paper and on our website, we don't want to leave anyone out, but we also don't want to keep anyone hostage. So we're not going to be doing any lock staking. I know there's a lot of questions that were coming on that. I hate lock staking. I think it's a scam. So it's liquid staking. We believe that if we are not performing, or if the algo is not performing, or if there's a better opportunity, it is a free market, and you should be able to take your coins out and put it elsewhere.
And that's
so
what's
there will
really
be no lock
decentralized
staking.
right there, is what you're talking about. So, wow.
Yeah.
Now,
Nuts,
will
huh?
this be? Is this? You say the staking's not locked?
That's correct. Not locked. Absolutely not.
Okay. I wasn't sure if there was any sort of like a liquid staking, or if there's any lending components to the stake, or if there's a some way that you can use your stake as well in other areas or not. And maybe there is, and maybe it's just not to be discussed yet. I don't know. I feel like you guys are extremely smart, and I feel like you have some really bullish tricks up your sleeves.
You're absolutely right. It's not something we can discuss at this point, but we can say for sure it's not going to be locked.
I can tell you guys from talking to these guys, or I'm not sure which one of you I was talking to for all these days, but they're highly organized, highly efficient, and have a very well thought out and detailed plan.
Yeah, that definitely was. I believe it was Apollo, our partnership guy. He was the one
Yes.
who was talking to you.
Nice guy.
Yeah, nice guy. Very, very smart individual.
So, I think I interrupted you, Reality, if you had something else to say.
I don't believe so. I just talk a lot, to be honest. But originally it was, I think we were talking about the staking anyways, but I was just going to touch on that a little bit. Bumba's pretty much covered that, so we're all good on there. But yeah, so back over to you.
Where would you say, like, I mean, aside from the DAO, I mean, your guys' vision for this thing is pretty clear. And I don't want to press you guys too much for questions either, because I know you guys are being very strategic about things. I mean, and it's been as inclusive as it can be. You know, I mean, what kind of holders are you guys trying to attract? I mean, I'm sure you guys have thought about this. And are you guys going to have a governance model on the DAO? And is there going to be like a board of directors or something, or is it going to be everybody that has an equal say?
Well, we're working on that. I believe that it's going to be again weighted. Your votes, it's democratic but weighted.
Right.
What we're trying to do is what we try to say, and we've said from the beginning, is we're trying to attract the best and the brightest minds in DeFi. Something I say constantly is we want your minds before we want your ETH or your funds. That's what makes us stronger. We want people to join our community, even if they don't hold anything, to just be there and to help out and to learn and to grow with us. And that's what our goal was from the beginning. And despite the success that we've had so far, that continues to be our goal, first and foremost.
That's awesome. I really like that. I really applaud you guys for having the well thought out plan you guys have and the kind of philosophy you guys have.
Yeah, it's not the norm, I feel like you guys really, I mean, this is thought out for a long time. Even when you said, "Oh, that's our partnerships guy," I can tell you have like a I guess like you call it an organizational chart, right? Where each person has their job and they do it really well. So that's what it takes to get something to, because you're really running a company when you're running a crypto project.
Correct.
People don't look at it that way.
People forget that. People forget that every time. Yeah, it is a real ass business.
You said exactly that, Cairo. I mean, you can approach a project in two different ways. You can launch a coin and attach a utility to it and hope for the best. However, essentially, this is it being the first decentralized hedge fund. You're merging a real life company with real life people with a real massive goal, and there's a huge amount being done to achieve that goal, and then boom, attaching the crypto side to it, which is ultimately probably one of the most professional organizations in the space, which is very, very hard to find. And most of them that are organized in this way, with people behind it like this, who are not afraid to get out there and talk to people, like Bomba has done, and some of the other team members, through AMAs everywhere, which is very, very different to a lot of people are doing this early into a project as well. And it's not all about trying to hype up people and get them to buy. There's been none of that, not even one little bit of that. Nowhere along the line have they said, oh, here's a bike, here's this, please come and buy. It's like, do you know what, guys? Here we are. We're a very well-established company. We've proven that we're organized. We've got some of the most insane utility, which is different to anything that's ever been put on the market. If you want to be a part of it, this is the way to do it. Here's the Telegram, here's the Discord. By the way, guys, join the Discord, please. More people, the better. That's where you can always talk. And this is what we're going to give you in the end. And just listening to the technical side of it, which is definitely his Bumba speciality, all that does is gives everybody the confidence that what is happening is not only real, but as I said earlier, it's damn well well organized, and it's going to be a ridiculous, huge success. And don't forget the people that are following, these guys, the people the comments that have been made on Twitter and all of that. These things seem to get forgotten quite quickly, and it was only through one tweet initially, which you all know which one I'm talking about, that the thing just took off, and that's not even that's not even the project. That's just a little bit of what these guys are about, the connections, the organization, the utility, everything from the minute go till now, till the next minute, till next week, till next month, till 6 months, 6 years down the track, will be an absolutely clear-cut plan, and everybody's going to want to wish that they got in this early. That's for sure. Definitely.
I think you should go into sales.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I don't know, man. I don't think he has what it takes. I don't know.
Oh, that was great. Thank you. I'm very,
Thanks,
very
man.
pleased with you guys. You're speaking on this and your clarity and your thought process, and I couldn't be more pleased by an AMA. Thank you.
No, it's our pleasure. Thanks
You
for having us.
guys, you mentioned a timeline. I think you had just in passing the reality something about in 6 months. What would you say your 1 month vision is, and then your 6 month vision? Kind of vision goals. Where do you see things at? How do you see it being adopted, and where do you guys see yourself in the industry as a whole?
That's a very, very, very hard question to answer without giving away too many secrets. So I like that question. So I'm going to give you a very, politician type answer. What I'm going to say, our goal is what our goal every day, 1 month out, 6 months out, is to bring value to our community and to our value to our supporters. So that's what we're going to continue doing, and that's what we hope that we will still be doing 6 months out.
I like it.
Amazing.
Thank
you.
Good answer.
Definitely.
Well, guys, I know we want to keep this short, keep everybody involved, and people have other lives. But you guys have anything to add about NFAi, anything like that? If not, we're going to start taking questions.
I think we're good here. I'm ready for questions, actually.
All right,
crack on.
Crypto Joker, who I've known forever, one of my first people I've ever talked to on crypto Twitter, over 2 years ago. You're on.
Wow, what's up, man? It's been a while.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Hey,
How's it
thank you
going?
so much
How's it going?
for having me on. And I just got a quick question. I think I don't know if that was answered earlier. I just jump into the spaces later on. And so my question is so you guys been talking about, this is for to trying to make this for the people, they don't have that much access to, like how the wealthy is and everything, right? I got a question. So why does your taxes super high and instead of being lower for other people to get into the project?
Well, that's a good question. And with our taxation, there is there's a scale, right? There's an opportunity cost. There's people that will be able to get in at 6%, and then there's a certain amount of people that won't be able to get in at 7%, et cetera, et cetera. We felt that 6% tax was the optimal tax for to be able to feed the algorithm through the early stages of the development. And if you notice, we've put on a kill switch on our token that doesn't allow us to go over a certain threshold in taxes. And I think I've said this many times before that we're not going to increase taxes, but we are considering ways of removing it, or well, not removing, but lowering the taxes later on. So that will be discussed later. And, you know, of course, that's a very, very good point. And that's something that we're constantly planning for.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for answering that. And now the other question is, with all these taxes they're like, getting into, what are these taxes going into for, like what are they
Yes.
utilizing those taxes into?
Yeah, so right now we've done a little bit of marketing and our focus is on development. So given that we launched in a way, our planning wasn't we didn't anticipate this type of success, to be very honest. So we had a lot of things that were further down the line that we were going to slowly, gather funds and do. We decided to accelerate basically our plan and bring the full court press to this development side of things. So you notice that things haven't really moved much on that is because we're adding more people to the team, we're hiring, we're expanding, and so that we can get this to market in the best way possible. You only get one shot with something like this, so we want it to be the best shot we can possibly get.
All right, okay, I understand. Now, would it be possible that get those? I mean, I'm just trying, I'm just trying to see, like, if the bot is already it's already tested, and you guys know that it has a bigger ratio on winning than losing, why not taking some of that profit and use it, and to that?
So our
That's
biggest issue with doing that right now is transparency. So if you notice, we a couple days ago we put out a dashboard, which is going to be the dashboard that we're going to be releasing, so everyone can watch it at the same time. Our MVP essentially didn't have that because we're using DYDX. It's very difficult for you to check and see someone's trades on DYDX, which we felt that was, originally we heard that from the community initially, and we're like, well, yeah, that's right. We need to have transparency. So we want to make sure that as we're testing going forward and as we're doing this process, everyone can watch. And that's the biggest thing why we haven't put anything in, because we don't want to put things into a black hole and then pull out money and suddenly, we basically look a bit more nefarious. We want to do this transparent and do it the right way.
all right. Well, thank you for the answers. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, guys, here.
Appreciate the questions, man. Great questions.
Hey,
Definitely.
thanks, I appreciate you coming on. Hope your knee's feeling better.
Thank you. Yeah, much better. Rehab has been a little biatch, but yeah, much better.
Roger that. We do have a question in the comments here, guys, gentlemen, and I'll read it for you. Will there ever be a KEX listing, and will the devs ever dox themselves? Two-part question. One.
Absolutely. Well, to both, no, absolutely not. We're anti-centralized exchange. We've said that from the outset. We continue to be. And two, no, we're not going to dox. That's very dangerous when it comes to ideas like this. Is we're attacking $1 trillion industry here, and our lives are important. So we want to do this, give it to DeFi, and not ever be doxed.
Not only this tech is worth, a great deal of money. Yeah. So someone could, try and take your, intellectual property from you. So I don't blame you whatsoever. Anybody else have any questions, guys? I know there's a lot of you out here. Don't be afraid. We're here now. Devs are very, very busy. If you have a question, now's the time.
I do have to say, I think because you said you didn't anticipate the success so quick. I always love to see that because also as an investor, it's not only did you guys obviously launch the right thing at the right time and everything, but it shows that a team's adaptable, and it's so important to remain fluid, when you're starting a business, and you got to adapt to things. and say, okay, we didn't anticipate this fast, but let's just start rolling these things out now. And it shows that you guys are capable of doing that, and that gives me a lot of confidence as an investor.
Corey, I think you hit the money. You hit the nail on the head there. I mean, you're right on the money because, yes, I believe this. I mean, obviously, these Bumba and the team have timed this perfectly in every other way, particularly on the AI side. And when there are, I guess, particularly now, so many AI projects out there, it's quite difficult to have launched something so stealthily and you're not really going to know what the success is going to be like. It's a hit and miss. There's so many, as Bum said, nefarious and dodgy things out there. And the fact that this has just gone from, zero to absolutely crazy in a matter of a couple of weeks is just insane. It's insane. And I think, and it's interesting because when I was asking a similar question to them about the, now that this is happening, they said, we didn't expect this, it's so complicated, the technology, we didn't expect the people to take it in so quickly. Now we're moving forward faster on phase one is just, it's incredible because you know what, it means that there's not going to be a longer wait time than what they were expected. They have the funds in order to move forward with it, and it just means that it keeps the project moving. It keeps the chart going. It keeps the investors coming in, and things are moving really, really quickly. And adaptable is exactly the right word. It's pretty awesome to see how adaptable they've been and how quick everything is being done. Particularly, I mean, once you saw that dashboard image, I mean, that's just crazy, and imagine. It's one thing for projects to say this is what we're doing, but you can you're looking through a window, what are these doing? Where's the tax money going? Where's the investments going? Is this successful? And all that's going to do is make people buy more because they can see what's actually going on in the background. It's not just a Telegram dev updating every now and again. This is where we're at. This is what we're doing. You can actually see the investments going in, the buys, sells, and all these kinds of things. That's, to me, it's incredible. It is literally like a window into the project. It's something else. It really is.
Yeah, and one thing, if you don't mind, I'll just say this too. I was talking in the community, the Discord today, and we were talking about the AI projects that you see, and you see a lot of permutations of the same project. A lot of for instance, like image AI things. A lot, like a ton of them have launched, I think, in the last maybe week. But what we've noticed is we haven't seen anyone else trying out the neural. Like no one's been attacking us in that, and it's kind of lonely, but it also shows just how hard how hard the work that we're doing, like how difficult it is, and how much time it takes to even get to this point. No one's attacking it. No one's attacking this hypothesis that we've set out at all. So it's kind of weird to see, but kind of cool, I guess.
Yep, it is difficult. It is difficult. In fact, I think I put into that Discord, Bumba, I put into Chat GPT, what would it take to create a neural net AI for crypto? And what it spat out at me was just, I mean, even what the answer was difficult enough, let alone putting it into action. How does one person or one team start even something like this? And the fact that you guys have, brought it this far along it's unbelievable, actually. It's well beyond anything I can even imagine, particularly given the amount of work. You've got to be a finance expert, you've got to be a crypto expert, you've got to know hedge funds, you've got to know AI. There's so many things that you have to be amazing at, not just a little bit good at, amazing at, to put all of these things together to create something like Athena. It's out of this world.
Yeah, 100% correct. And that's really, really good points. I think that this space kind of has an issue with the copycats and the permutations, like NFAi said. But it's just kind of the reality of the system right now. But yeah, this thing is very, very difficult to build.
Yeah, I kind of was Maybe 9, 12 months ago, I was talking to a friend, and I said, man, it'd be really cool to build a decentralized hedge fund that's a DAO with AI trading algorithms. And, I'm not a dev, I'm not a builder. So, I'm not going to build anything of that. I enjoy trading. I enjoy helping out where I can with teams and everything, but it's crazy but then I said, but that's probably impossible. Or else someone would do it and it would just crush so hard. Well, that's precisely what you guys are doing. And when I bought the coin, I honestly didn't even know what it was. I'm kind of an ape first, research later kind of a guy. I saw some people talking about it in some chats. I was like, well, shoot, this thing looks good. Looks bullish, has AI in the name. And what's crazy is even talking to people about it, even a conversation I was having earlier, one of my buddies said, yeah, I think this one, it should break 10 million, kind of following the hype of Imagine AI. And I'm going to have to respond to him later. But I was like, that's good, though, because that tells me I honestly think the initial success was just kind of the AI trend. And I think there's a lot of people who still don't even know what it does. I'm going to write a little thread. Once people...
Yeah, go ahead, Fakar. I was just going to comment that the majority of people out there, investors, don't really have an understanding for what artificial intelligence, the true definition really is, because the majority of projects out here that have an AI behind their name are not artificial intelligence, and they never will be. I'm not saying they're bad. There's still some cool stuff out there. So I'm not saying they're bad. Right? I'm just differentiating, the definition.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, that's where it comes back to, true developers, true vision, and then the manpower to actually be able to accomplish that and build it and make it happen. That's such a good point, though, because people, we like metas, we like narratives in crypto, but once they actually find out what this is, what you guys are building, and with the DAO, the staking, and the tiered levels, I hate saying this, like it's not even started yet. I hate that saying, like this is nothing, it hasn't even started. But this is one where I would firmly say that and actually believe it, because people don't even know what you guys are doing. And once you build it, you have the DAO, the staking, and they start seeing proof of concept. My gosh, you could only imagine. I would think everyone would want a piece, at least have some exposure to be making some good passive income.
And I think the proof of work and concept is already, almost over halfway there, given Athena's, efficiency. So.
Yeah. Most people don't even know what half the projects they invest in do, to be fair. Most people don't even read the white paper. So much work goes into building a good website white paper, and I reckon there'd be a 1 or 2% of people that actually read it, which is one of the reasons why AMAs are such a good thing. It's one thing to have, and this is what annoys me as well about a lot of projects, is it's good to have a lot of features. What's the project about? It does boom, boom, boom. But you know what? Why? What's the benefit? What is the actual reason why you're building a bridge or this or that? And most people don't know that. They just want to chuck the money in, see the chart go up, take some money out, boom, boom, boom. And this is why these kinds of things is really good to put to the people, to say, do you know what? We're building this, and why we're building it is so that you guys can make some money. You can be part of the revolution, and you can put your money in, and we're going to pay you some money out using some of the most advanced technology known to this space. And when that penny really drops, that's when this thing, and it's not far away because AMAs are coming and coming and coming, that's when this thing is just going to go absolutely through the roof, because it is just second to none. People will actually realize what they're buying this time, not just a thing with AI written on the end. We create some kind of pictures or whatever. There's all these other things doing. This is different. This is real. And then when people understand it well enough in basic enough terms to be able to explain to the next person what it is that it does, that's when the masses will come. And that is only around the corner.
Yeah, I'm going to start calling you Saul Goodman, I think.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Love it.
I'll take that, man. Nice one. Hopefully, I've made my point though.
It's great stuff. You hit an alligator. Well, anyways, I appreciate that response. It was very well thought out. Does anybody else have any questions out there, guys? I know there's a lot of people here.
I think Dorian just turned gray.
Let's bring Dorian up here. Not only is the mass is going to come, and it's amazing for the project and holders and ability and the traders, but the other thing this is going to do is inspire true innovation and kind of have other teams in DeFi up their ante and say, oh, wow, what these guys are building is freaking crazy. So that's another good thing, just as far as the industry, is you really inspire greatness and you set the bar higher. So it's healthy in every single way possible for crypto and DeFi.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Welcome. All right. Can I ask my question?
Of course. Right. Of course. Go
well,
ahead.
The first one is, for NFAi. Are you really human? Are you not like some kind of reflection from ChatGPT, an entity? Because you don't want to dox and stuff like that.
That is a philosophical question. I don't know. I can't answer that question, can I? I guess.
It's possible that he's part human, part robot. There is a possibility.
Okay, well, assuming I'm talking to a human or ChatGPT, it doesn't matter. Maybe we are this far already. Now, I have quite a serious question because I have a little bit background in trading bots myself. Like I'm using some platform where you can drag drop everything yourself, and like you explained, you have to backtest for hours and hours and weeks. It's a lot of work. So it's really interesting to see this AI component. But my question is about the DEX, the decentralized exchange where you want to run it, because I know for a centralized exchange, those bots are working with APIs that are approved by this central exchanges. But is there, and I don't want to create any FUD, but is there a chance that a big decentralized exchange on a certain point recognizes Athena and says, "Oh, we're gonna make a little block for that because you're doing it like without an API, I guess," or how does it work?
A great question, and I guess to answer that, the exchange that we were using for testing, which is DYDX, we did an AMA with them last week, so they're aware. Everything's kind of clear on the back. They have their approved APIs, and that's how we're doing it.
Okay, so it's just like, all right, so you're approved. They have the API. You have a kind of partnership with them.
I wouldn't say partnership, but they're aware of us, and so that's why we were able to talk to their DAO basically. Mm-hmm. And so that was a concern we had. Of course, say we get too big, we get blocked.
Yeah,
that's something that we've already front run, and we had a really great conversation with those guys last week.
Nice, yeah. I mean, for them, it's also, of course, also volume, right? So that's interesting.
Exactly. The volume is very important to these exchanges. They want to get the most amount of fees that they can. So as long as we're creating volume and not doing it in a nefarious way, things are okay.
Okay, great. And all right, thanks. I have one small question, if that's okay, still.
Yeah, of course. Go for it.
I read in the white paper, on a certain point you're gonna like release the bot or release the Kraken, however you want to call it, to the public. But I know from my experience, like you're never really done with programming and adjusting because the market keeps changing and you have to tweak and stuff like that. So my question is, once it's like publicly released, will it be updated, or do you really send in AI into the wild and keep it there?
That's a great question, and that's something that we've discussed at length, and I think it's basically up to the DAO at the end to decide if they'd like to hire us or hire any other team to maintain it. That's their prerogative at the end of it.
Okay, all right, great. All right, well, very interesting, and I'm really happy I found this last week, and yeah, very impressive. I wish you all the best. I'll keep following you guys very close.
Thank you. Appreciate your questions.
I get this. I feel as if. Okay.
Go ahead, Gar. There's a question in the comments, and I'll get to it after you're done.
I was just gonna say briefly, based on you saying we'll let the DAO decide. I feel like you guys really genuinely care about the community and the holders, and that they're going to be able to really truly shape the path of what they want, which is true decentralization, which I know CF brought up earlier. It's just really refreshing to see because sometimes the word DAO and it's like a comfort. It's like one of those weighted blankets, you know. It's all comfy. Oh, that's cool. We're gonna get to make choices, but then it doesn't actually happen. So a great CEO is always listening to their consumers and their employees overall. So I feel like you guys take that approach.
Appreciate that sentiment. Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do here.
Yes. So we got the question in the comments, which I'll have CF bring up, and then we also have Josh that I just added to the stage.
Yeah, we had a couple more, I think, but one of them made a question in the comments. One of the ones I've seen waiting. So I'll just read it unless he wants to come back up here. But his question is, can somebody explain the practical reality of this? Question mark. What is the solution? Question mark.
All right, I guess this is the basically the easiest way of putting it is that there's a lot of crypto projects that rely on they're essentially pyramid schemes. They rely on a new person buying to increase the value of the token. We are not that. What we are doing is extracting value from another market and inputting that value into our ecosystem. That's what, think of us like I like to say like an oil rig that is drilling for ETH or drilling for money elsewhere and giving out the revenues from that oil rig to the shareholders. That's essentially what it's like. Which is not done before, which is pretty crazy to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's after this long of DeFi existing, it's not done. So yeah.
Right. Well, I think some of that's bear market laziness, but that's just my opinion. There's a couple more questions in the comments, and I hope you guys have time to answer. Let me know if you don't. Will NFAi ever utilize Unification Foundation products? I don't know what that is, but
that sounds like a soft shell. I'm not sure.
Must be. My bad.
Yeah, that's a soft shell. Yeah.
Here we go. Sorry. Can you expand on? They already answered that. They can't expand on a tweet regarding the partnership any more than they already did.
That's correct.
Also, do you use AI trading on your NFAi chart because it looks perfect?
No, we don't have the ability to trade on DEX. It is just, we have an art department and they paint the chart, and then they're just really good. I don't know what's going on there. It's pretty wild to see, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's all I have in the comments. Like Josh, if you're ready, go right ahead.
Yeah, sure. Hey guys, thanks for having me up. I am not the gigabrain tech guy, so I'm not even going to bother getting into the AI stuff. I let you guys do that. But regarding the, we'll call it like profit sharing or distributions that are going out to holders, have you worked out what kind of weight or what the distribution kind of proportions will be for the individual stakers or holders of the NFAi token?
Yeah, so what we call it is it's weighted staking, which is pretty common in DeFi. The more tokens you own, the more weight you have. The more weight you have, the more of the share you get. That's essentially how it works.
Beauty. And then I would assume that it's not going to be 100% of the profits kind of received from the trades are going to be thrown back out to the users. Have you kind of established how much weight of the, we'll call them wins, will be distributed?
No, we haven't, because what we're doing is until the DAO is up and the staking's up, we're going to be using it fully for buying burn, maybe possibly a little bit for ourselves, maybe. But when it comes to the final product of it with the DAO is going to be deciding which percentage goes to staking and which goes to buy and burn. That's literally it. Very simple.
That's a buy and burn of the token itself, and then
exactly.
And then I'm assuming that another portion of it will be held kind of like to build up the treasury or the fund that's being traded with as well.
Treasury is built up by the tax on the token.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize
that's how. Yeah, exactly. Tax on the token volume basically feeds Athena. Athena feeds the DAO or staking pool. The staking pool either goes back to the users, or there's the dual way where the buy and burn also brings value to the user or the supporter, basically. So very simple.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks for explaining it so clearly. Huge support of the project. Appreciate you guys a lot. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Super
Josh.
good question, man.
Anybody else, guys, before we let these guys go back to building and their lives? We have a lot of people here, a lot of questions. And I want to thank everybody for coming. I really appreciate it. This project is special, and I'm glad you're all here to hear them speak.
Yeah, this has been the highest attendance under the radar spaces to date, and you guys have some really cool people in the community, and also some very smart people. Even a few I recognize. They don't really care about brand. They're not trying to be an influencer. They're just extremely smart investors. Some of the smartest people I've met, and I've noticed some in the project as well. So that's always a good sign when you kind of get those low key, super researcher people. They're all about it. They love it.
Yeah. Anybody else before we take a break? All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming, NFAi and Reality Bites. We appreciate you guys, and we're gonna have you guys back if that's okay. Probably, when you guys made a little bit of progress in 60 or 30 to 60 days or so.
Yeah, of course. We'd really appreciate that, and thank you so much for having us. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you.
All right, thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
man. Thank you so much for again. And just before I leave, I just want to say this is an awesome platform. It's been a wild turnout, and it's really good. And it's always good to have an AMA with the team at NFAi. So always tune into any of them that are coming up. There'll be many more. Please, guys, one more reminder: the Discord is open for communication. So if you want to go and chat to the NFAi Labs team, Discord is always open at discord.gg/NFAi Labs. Because of course Telegram is currently locked, as it has been from the launch. So jump onto Discord and you can ask any questions directly, and the team are always there.
I'll do that. Thank you so much, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Caro.
Take care.
Thanks, guys. It was a pleasure.
Cheers.